Are you ready for your window shoppers to become paying customers? Ecwid is here to make that happen. With dynamic Facebook retargeting, we'll show the exact product visitors saw on your site but didn't purchase wherever they go on Facebook and Instagram, automatically. So sign up now in your Ecwid control panel in the marketing section and look for the Facebook remarketing app. And if you sign up now and spend $50 by December 24th, you receive a free $100 advertising credit from our friends at Facebook. So get after this. Rich, did you hear that? So you just need to spend $50 and get $100 of magic Facebook ads. Get after this. Okay, back to the show.
This is the Ecwid E-Commerce Show with your host, Jesse Ness, along with Richard O'Tay.
How's it going on? How's it going today, Richard?
It's going good. How about yourself?
It's an excellent day here. It's Friday.
Are you on special behavior today?
Special behavior? How so? Oh, yes. I'm special behavior because my boss is in the studio today. So let's bring him on. This is VP of Marketing at Ecwid, David Novick.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on board today. I appreciate it. Jesse, I expect you to be your normal, random, awesome self.
I'll try to keep it random, not best behavior.
Beautiful Sunday. Well, I'm excited to have you in. Sounds like you have some interesting stats coming up for the holiday season and just what's been going on in the state of the internet and e-commerce. What are the stats that you have? What is something that someone should be interested in as far as just something that's compelling that most of the news hasn't shared with yet?
Sure. So, I love getting the opportunity to kind of work with you guys. I see it from the periphery and see that you guys are doing an awesome job. And what you're doing is really going into the detail to help our merchants and anybody else out there learn more about how to do e-commerce, how to grow their own business, how to live their true, authentic lives, and be that business person they always wanted to be. So I think it's a great service. What I wanted to do today and what I think would be most helpful is to kind of step up a level and maybe give like a 30,000-foot viewpoint of what's happening in e-commerce. I might have a little broader purview of what's going on out there and how we're helping to steer the development of Ecwid e-commerce to be that amazing tool to help people live their dreams. So it's exciting.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I've got a long list of cool stuff that people really won't know about, some really late breaking news. And so hopefully they'll find it as exciting as I did just reading about it, researching, and writing it down.
Awesome.
So I'll just start rattling some stuff off. Love to hear you guys' thoughts about these. We haven't even gone over them yet, so it's kind of interesting. But, we're really, it's an amazing thing, the growth of the internet and e-commerce. And I've been doing this over 20 years, and it just continues to increase. Excitement levels and growth is just amazing. We're at the point right now where the world is growing, and the world of internet users is growing at an even much faster pace. We are expected to eclipse 3.6 billion internet users in 2018. And some of these notes, this one in particular is from a gal named Mary Meeker. She puts out a State of the State every year. We can share, Jesse, resources later on.
We'll put this on the blog page, ecwid.com/podcasts for everybody out there.
So you guys don't need to take any frantic notes either. We'll take care of this for you, but just it's a good opportunity to help digest some of this stuff. So over 50% of the population is now internet users, the entire globe.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, I think we've been around a long time. There's some gray hair here in this office. So when you think about it, back a long time ago, internet was universities, and then it was business people, and now it's just everybody has the internet in their pocket. I mean, and everybody meaning half of the world. There's people that have maybe never sat down at a computer like we might think of a computer, but they have the internet in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what's going on, right? With the smartphone, was it really the internet, or is it the smartphone that's doing this? You have to have the internet, obviously, but when that computer, because it's really a computer in your pocket that happens to make phone calls. And we're talking, so first off, you guys provide the opportunity for people to create a business and they can do it international, they could do it domestically. These numbers are international now.
Yeah, global.
Some of these
we all should be thinking globally at this point.
Yeah.
Even small businesses.
And that's the part that's fascinating is there's 3.6 billion people that you have access to then.
Exactly.
For the cost of your cell phone plan and then whatever plan you have.
Well, let's think
Ecwid.
about this. So not only are there 3.6 billion internet users in 2018, the time on the internet in the past 8 years has actually doubled. So each user is now averaging 5.9 hours a day, not a month, not a week, per day. And we're all guilty of this. Let's think about this. But you know, the efficiency of using your mobile device to figure things out, to entertain yourself, to communicate with others is phenomenal, right? We do need to be careful here a little bit. I mean, 5.9 hours is a lot. Yesterday was
cut the kids off a little bit.
Totally,
but,
right?
You know.
Like, you know, there's some great apps out there to cut your kids off, and I think that's a super important thing. Like,
sure.
You know, be careful about that. But anyway, business is happening on the internet, and you need to be there. And if you're listening to this, obviously you are there. So hopefully we'll give you a couple more pieces of ammo today to help you refine your game, and then a couple pieces that might help you up your game as well. So let's move on and talk about some other interesting stats. So the National Retail Federation released some interesting news. We found out that last year's holiday spending hit $814 billion. Not million. I said it's with a B.
Yeah, that's a big number. Can I get just one of those, do you think?
One of them B's?
Yeah,
I'll take an M.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's funny you say one of those B's because it's so easy when you hear million, billion, trillion. Oh, it's just a different letter, a different pronunciation. But like, there's 1,000 M's for every B.
Yeah,
that's so say that out loud. There's 816,000 million dollars being spent on.
Yeah.
That's freaking ridiculous, right?
I mean, if you saw my front door, you would start to understand why.
You participate.
Yeah, there's packages there. I'm like,
or your wife.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say it's mostly my wife. Yeah, like there's just packages every single day and like multiple ones. I'm like, I don't know what's in there, but I don't know. They're there.
Well, it's everyday business now, and it's fantastic. It makes things a lot more efficient. Like, who really wants to go out to the store? Like, if you have a complex product that you really need to see, you know, like large, like maybe a stereo, right? Like you want to hear a stereo. Well, you go to the store and you listen to it, and then maybe you buy it online.
On your phone while you walk up to the store.
It's going to come down to kiosks at some point, and that is, you know, showrooming is happening.
Yeah.
Let's continue a little bit. So is $814 billion, according to Mary Meeker, e-commerce is now about 13% of total retail. So retail is, you know, a much bigger piece of the pie, but e-commerce continues to accelerate its portion of the entire puzzle. And so you're looking at the acceleration increasing, not decreasing. So when I say acceleration, that means the percentage of growth of e-commerce as a part of retail. It is an increasing pace. So that's pretty exciting, given the fact of the prevalence of e-commerce in general. But now its pace is
they're
going.
merging together too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we use this term e-commerce sometimes as if it's just one small thing that's a widget, but it's all kind of blended now. What is social and e-commerce, and Yelp is internet, but it could be driving still more retail sales to your brick and mortar location. So it's kind of all morphing together, right? And so even though e-commerce is growing, in the stats, we don't really know. There could be this hidden gem of some, you know, maybe she'll have a new stat next year on, you know, it's driving more restaurant sales, or, you know, just doing your social stuff, bringing people into your brick and mortar stores. Now, it doesn't seem to be working for Sears and JCPenney's and Toys R Us. So something's changing, right? It's growing, but how are we seeing this behemoths disappearing too, right? What are they doing wrong? What's going on?
You make an interesting point, and it's not necessarily a problem with the physical store. Physical stores are alive and well. If you look at the stats, and I don't have them here with me today, but you will see that mall closures are definitely happening, and some store footprints are disappearing. But some of the higher end stores are actually increasing. And so you'll see a lot of the upscale products are doing quite well, and people do what it really needs to be if you're going to be a physical store and do well is you need to have an experience. And brands that do recognize that and realize that and take advantage of that are doing great. So they're having both the, it's really about the omni-channel piece, right? So it's selling both online and offline is really the key to larger retail success.
Yeah. I think part of the reason for this continued growth is more and more people are getting used to buying a lot of things online and not just the, things that they used to, not just buying books on Amazon. They're essentially buying everything online, even when, it's my kid's birthday coming up here in a couple of days. So we could go to, Target and whatnot and buy stuff, but we just bought it all online because it's so much easier. And then you see the rise of the direct-to-consumer brands so that now if you have a good idea, if you either make it the product yourself, you get it manufactured somewhere, now you are the whole brand. And basically it kind of opens up all of the merchants, like a lot of Ecwid merchants, to be able to create a brand and sell online. And people are not afraid to buy online at all. Like it happens all the time, these success stories.
Yeah, it's a lot different when we first started, right? When I think back to this, just starting days and, actually started with physical, or not physical, but the credit card processing piece of it. So it was like, wow, I could see behind the scenes. They'd send me their statements and try to, get them a better rate. And you not always would be the best looking store selling the most stuff. Mm-hmm. I remember this one guy that sold saddles in 2001. He sold saddles online. He sold over $1 million plus in saddles, and it was the ugliest sight ever. But he had his market. He had his audience that just kind of made sense to his audience. They didn't mind getting lost in his site. They didn't mind sticking around and looking for a while. And you could barely even find the how to buy buttons.
Wow.
It was crazy. And so, but yet $1 million plus. And then sometimes, you'd have these people that would say, oh, I want to get that theme and make it look like Amazon, the exact opposite extreme, right? Like, good luck. Yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating. Just what people are able to do these days. It doesn't necessarily have to be some super complicated, fancy site. You could just test something out. To your point, you make something, you want to test something in Ecwid, you can put it up in a day.
You're online. You're ready to sell.
Yeah, one of the things that I like this segue, Richard. It's really interesting. So it was back in the day. Suppose you're a saddle guy, and I think I heard about this story. It was really about having that content, having that product, and being able to get it out there to your audience. And that getting it to your audience is the thing that we're really focusing on now, Ecwid e-commerce in general. So, we've had these great capabilities to develop a store quickly and efficiently. And, with even a small shop, you could use Ecwid and get your stuff rolling very quickly. But what it's coming down to now is a lot more about, distribution of your content. And that's really one of the key pieces that we're actually bringing to our merchants. So we want our merchants to be successful, so we're rolling out new tools to allow that to happen. And that's really the key component. There's a quote that I liked from my days back at the Chive, and it was, content is king, meaning, having great content on your website that was really interesting was king, but distribution is the queen, and she actually wears the pants in the family, which it was funny at the time, but it didn't really hit home until you think about it. So it's one thing to have great product, content. The other piece is really getting your message out there, which is the key piece, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're this saddle guy it wasn't just that his product was so great and his website could really be awful. It was he was able to somehow get everybody to his website in order to sell these saddles. And that's really where we are today. So Ecwid's provided the tools for a small shop to be able to make their own website. And now we have built tool sets that are really functional and working for a lot of our customers that are allowing you to get that distribution piece, get the word out there about your products. And that's stuff that you guys have been diving into every week. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the important part is having the infrastructure taken care of. So Ecwid really takes care of that for you. You get your products, you get your prices, tax, shipping, all that stuff is now taken care of. That used to be like, that's a very expensive process back in the day, many month process, and now like you can do it in an afternoon if you just stick to it. And then it's really up to you as the merchant to work on that distribution. How do you get the message out? And there's a ton of different ways to do that. I mean, Richard, what are some latest stories we've heard on people getting the word out?
Oh man, I mean, first off, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the 3.6 billion people online. So those people are sharing things online. Those people, they're mostly consuming, which is good for e-commerce people, right? They're mostly consuming. And if you're creating media, so I'm going to take a broad answer to that. Which path do you want to go down first? Like, if we're going to talk about social, you want to talk about other marketplaces, there's just so many distribution channels these days. What I'm loving about what you guys are doing is you've basically setting up a system to where what is your strength, and you can focus on that. If you want to do marketplaces, Ecwid can hook you up to do Amazon too. You want to, so help me narrow it down first, because this one it's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty broad.
3 billion people on 3.6.
You know what? Here's the thing, right? Like, even some of the pro guys I'm looking at here going, boy, where do I start on this topic? And it is tough, but that's what we want to do. We want to make it easy for you. So the tools that we bring on board are the ones that we believe in. If you're not successful as an Ecwid merchant, we're not successful. So we're only going to steer you toward things that we have proven and do work. So when it comes down to it, look, there's a couple things that we've been focusing on lately. Social selling is a huge piece, right? And social selling is kind of a new term. People didn't believe in it at first, but look, I'm gonna hop into my stats a little bit more here. Did you know that there are 48%, as of this year, 48% of the U.S. population is either millennial or Generation Z?
I did not know that.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. So baby boomers, they're adopting digital faster than almost anybody as a percentage. But anyway, millennials and Gen Z are a huge piece and growing.
And I think what makes that interesting is, okay, if you're not in Generation Z, what's the picture you have of this person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you have a picture of somebody probably looking down at their phone, right? So looking at their phone, you assume they're looking at social media. So that's the place where you need to target people.
And that is true. So there was, and we'll share this online as well. There was an Ad survey in 2018. A very, very competent group put this together, and it showed that for millennial and Gen Z, that the most relevant ad medium is not television. Yeah. It is actually social media. And for the first year, this year in 2018, we are expecting mobile advertising, meaning display ads on your mobile devices that few of us ever really try to hit purposely, we think. That is surpassing television advertising in spend. And so investments by all these major brands, believe me, we know what we're doing. They know what they're doing. It has shifted from television as the primary to mobile devices as the primary advertising. The single largest advertising investment that brands are making is now mobile ads.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
So let's kind of tie all those together now. You originally started with Richard, hey, what do you think of a distribution strategy? I said, whoa, that's kind of wide. That's okay, but it's kind of wide. And we narrowed down to some of the things that are going on. You guys are working on social selling. And to your point and your stats right there, we have 48% are these millennials that Jesse's, for the most part,
Millennials and Z, yep.
Yep, are staring at phones. And so if
don't quote me on that. That was
well,
it.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I know there's other ones changing the world, and one shoe at a time. But where I was going with that was, so you have to keep that in mind as a seller. If that's your market, where do you need to be to get in front of them? Because in this world where they say no, like, and trust, I can't guarantee they're going to like you. I can't guarantee they're going to trust you, but I can guarantee you they're not going to like you or trust you if they don't know about you.
Sure.
Right? And so where are they?
Yeah.
And so if you're not necessarily selling to them, you might get a get-out-of-jail-free card on that because you're not selling to millennials maybe. But there's grandmas on there. There's all kinds of people on there, right? As we know.
And I don't think that's even, like, it's not just millennials that are looking at their phones. Like, we're all looking at our phones too, and we might think we don't click on those banners, or we might not think we're not affected by them, but there's a reason that mobile ad spending is going to surpass TV. Like, it obviously works. Like, it's super targeted.
Literally where I was going with it. Think of the old term, broadcast. It was about casting a broad, kind of wide message that you hope would stick with some. But now, with all the AI and all the stuff going on, they're getting better and better at putting in your feed what you're interested in.
Well, let me give you some more stats because it's kind of what I'm here for, and it's fun. So again, the National Retail Federation says, and this just came out, that 1/3 of shoppers say that they are influenced by promotions for their holiday shopping by online banners and display. And so you don't think you are influenced. And they're talking about not just e-commerce, but sales across all channels.
Sure.
And so this is an 11.4% increase year over year. So a full 1/3 of holiday shoppers might have had another idea, and they're influenced by the advertisements that they saw for promotions. And we do expect that to continue to grow.
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
Advertising works,
Yep.
period, right? And I think when you think about the mobile ad spending is now surpassing TV, I think that's a huge opportunity for small merchants, because for a small merchant, the ability to make a TV commercial is probably not going to happen, right? Like, it's a tough deal. You got to have creating a commercial is expensive, period. But creating a mobile ad is very easy. You have a phone in your pocket, you pick it up, you push the button, you record a video. I could record you two sitting across from me right now, and we could make a video, a commercial. Maybe it's not the best one, but and then you can add all these different graphics and things. Like, it's amazing what you can do with your phone to create a really good ad.
Well, yes, and you've actually just added steps of complexity that aren't even really needed, right?
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
The tools that we offer right now allow you to just simply connect your product feed.
Yeah.
And the the artificial intelligence that we've aligned as partners with Ecwid allow you to actually choose a category and a basic target and set your budget, and artificial intelligence will actually do most of it for you, which you guys, that's a no-brainer. So that's what I love about this stuff. When I think about it, I love that we really serve smaller businesses, and I love that we're bringing these great technologies that used to be really reserved for only high-end brands that had huge development teams and analysts, and now we bring these tools right in for these solopreneurs. I mean, it's amazing, but that's kind of where I see it. So I think most of the tools that you see us offering, to be honest, are really strong, and they're definitely worth working with. We're now, Jesse, this is huge news, people.
All right, breaking news, everyone. Can we get a graphic Wade for this?
This is the 7th year that Ecwid has been plugged into selling on Facebook.
Okay.
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's huge. So that was really the number one sales tool for many years. Now we're seeing the fastest growth and adoption, obviously coming from Instagram.
Yep.
That's been fantastic for our partners. In related to these, so obviously we've already talked a lot about Facebook. We've talked a lot about Instagram, but I think it's really a smart thing to look at right now, going into the holidays, to be looking at probably the Google Shopping opportunities with artificial intelligence. I think that's probably a pretty key point.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on a podcast. Like, you can literally get going with Google Shopping, this automated Google Shopping thing, in, I don't know, 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
Like, you just plug it into it. You connect your products. You put a credit card in. Google's going to want to get paid. There is a promo, by the way. So I think it's pay $25, you get 100 for free, or $150. But literally in 5 minutes, your product's going to be on top of Google. So when people Google your products, you're there. And of course, Google's pretty smart. They know the right people to put your products in front of. They want to make you successful, so you keep advertising. Obviously, it's not a secret there. So yeah, it's an amazing thing to be able to do. And you could pull over if you're listening on a podcast right now and set this up from your phone. It's that easy.
So that's actually something I was going to ask earlier, Dave. You guys really are amazing at getting something up and going quickly. And if someone wanted to do a side hustle and they just want to try something out before they maybe quit their job, or a stay-at-home mother or father wants to do something on the side. But I've also noticed, the more I've worked with Ecwid, that, I mean, man, you get some pretty darn close to enterprise, if not enterprise features also. So this isn't really something that anyone's. I mean, you gotta grow to a pretty darn big company before you're even remotely thinking of switching out of this, right? So you can kind of get up and going right away. And how big? What are some of the kind of interesting, different things you've seen someone doing with Ecwid at a kind of, let's just say, close to enterprise level? Do you have any clients that you could think of, or you don't have to specifically name them, but just something interesting that they're doing with the software?
Well, you'd be surprised at the number of seven-figure people that we have selling through Ecwid. So 7 figures is a number plus 6 zeros, right? So into the millions.
Yeah.
And quite a few of them. And so it's pretty exciting stuff to see. It is exciting, and what I really want to hear is more of the success stories. I mean, if you guys are out there and you have success stories,
yeah, please. You guys, this is a way for you to promote your store. So we've had some people on recently. You probably just heard Joe Coker from Heroic Kid. We had CakeSafe on. CakeSafe actually did a recent, what do you call it, like a case study.
We just finished it.
Yeah, so that's available on the website too. I mean, we have a ton of examples of stores that are doing well with Ecwid. And, I think the best part, one good thing about this podcast is, if you want thousands of people to hear about your store, please, message us in the notes. Actually, it's podcast@ecwid.com if you want to send an email and tell us your story. So we definitely want to have more merchants on to help your story. And it's the holidays too.
Well, we love the feedback too. Like, literally inside the company, we love talking about these success stories and sharing them. And it makes us all feel good, because that's kind of why we're here. We all kind of love what we're doing here.